And then going back to the earlier conversation about like having that kind of like imposter syndrome and stuff, like having a PhD kind of sometimes has helped me, build myself up.
And if you think that, okay, this 4 years, I will build myself to equip to be, a great employee for an industrial position, you are making wrong.
Thinking, what do you want in your career? And then align everything into that goal. Right?
There's no answer, but I really emphasize that the decisions should really align close with your career goals.
As you might know, there is an increasing push for higher education degrees, such as PhD, with the belief that it may be a necessity or that could enhance competitiveness in general in the job market. However, the accuracy of this belief may vary depending on the context of academia versus industry. So can you provide your opinion and help us navigate this concept? Should a future student pursue a PhD if their interest lies in geospatial data sciences, programming, or cartography?
And like you said, Mariam, like it's all context. It all depends, right? So like I deal with a lot of clients in Latin America. That's why I'm like a CSM for LATAM. And honestly, like my PhD only really carries weight when I'm dealing with certain countries like Mexico and Central America. There's certain like hierarchy where like having the title, we use a lot of honorific when we talk to one another. So instead of saying like, Steve, they'll use doctor. And so it's helpful in those situations just because like in some ways it's like a sign of respect and everything. But for the most part, like, if I'm dealing with clients in Argentina, doesn't really matter that much. Then within Planet, like PhDs are a dime a dozen. Sometimes it's hard to know like who has a PhD or not because like it's not necessarily we use the PhD at the end of our names or we go by doctors. But the value here, is first like culturally, like where do you plan to work, right? Is it needed? In reality, like nothing's really needed, but like it's a nice to have, right? And then going back to the earlier conversation about like having that kind of like imposter syndrome and stuff, like having a PhD kind of sometimes has helped me, build myself up. When I have like if I'm meeting like the ministry of a particular country, a minister for a particular of the environment for a particular country, I'm like, okay, at least I have this, and it kind of helps me give like a security blanket over me than anything else. So it all depends on what we're trying to use it for, and kind of like what's the cost of pursuing a PhD versus like not getting it. But more importantly, like Christina was mentioning, like with applying at ESRI, saying like you either have a graduate degree or show equivalent experience, right? And there are different ways that you can show experience, and it's like through different projects. You keep doing publications, and the kind of work that you're doing. It's assumed like if you have a graduate degree that you know how to do research, you're continuing learning, you're like adaptable, can work on teams, but you know what? You can do all that outside of that PhD. And it's important like to figure out like how you showcase it. One interesting thing you want to consider as well, like if you are a grad student, sometimes you might be limited as to what sort of research you can do and like where you want to develop your skill set. And sometimes there might be a little bit of a lag between, what's a popular programming language or what's a popular approach and like what's being taught in the grad school curriculum. So, it depends on like what you want to do. What's going to be the cost for you to do this? What's going to be the benefit? And one benefit of like having the PhD is like once you have it, nobody can take it away from you. You can still like, I can say like when someone tries to call me like, like Dr. Padgett-Vasquez, like, no, just call me Steve. I enjoy you saying just call me Steve. Like be like, and think about what is he trying to prove with that PhD? Like, what are you trying to convey to a potential employer in it, and where do you want to ultimately work? If you want to do anything related to specific, particularly academia, a PhD is almost like a requirement. Research, I'll let my colleagues explain that, but I would guess that it's also like a requirement if you're doing it within a research institute. So yeah, those are my first thoughts.
So my understanding is, we are always scared about our future because there is always uncertainty, right? So it's not actually that, okay, doing PhD, what I will do, or without doing PhD, what I will do. There is no certainty, right? So the thing is, I mean, I would say that if you want to go for PhD or start PhD, go for that, but never start half-heartedly. Don't be half-hearted. I mean, whatever you will do it with great enthusiasm. And you will say, it's not you are only alone on the web, that when you are a PhD student, you will be too much, thinking or too much stuck with, about your field, your specific topic. If this topic will be marketed, it will be sellable enough to the industry or academy. Would I will get an academic job with this PhD, or would I will get, if industry people will accept me if I, make a lot of publication. Too much thinking. But I would say that, don't do anything half-heartedly, but if you do PhD, think about that. What is the role of a PhD student at first? If someone, well, I mean, because especially in US PhD, you have a lot of opportunity to learn a lot of skill set. I think in University of Georgia, the PhD student can get a second master's in, statistics. It's completely free. I think most of the US universities may have the same opportunity. You can learn the data sciences, but it is your PhD. So if you just compromise your research, and if you think that, okay, this 4 years I will build myself to be, a great employee for an industrial position, you are making wrong. Because your job is PhD, so do the PhD work sincerely. As a PhD student, if you have no publication, I think your career, I mean, some people can gain. There is no, right or wrong answer. But I would say that in general, this is not the right idea, doing a PhD without focusing any publication or research work. So make it balance, I mean, and try to bring your skill, even though you see that thing that, some solid skill set job, right? If someone want to be a data scientist, right? He need to learn the programming things. He need to know that how to make the visualization things, stuffs. Practice that through your research work. Just doing some coursework or some learning some skill not help. When you will go to industry or in a research institute, you will have to implement a project work, right? So take your PhD work as a solid project work, and try to, imply your learned skill through that project work. So that is my understanding. I see that there are, very lot of, different websites. I also took the suggestion like Googling things. In a lot of cases, I see that even they don't suggest to go for publication and research work. They said that, okay, this 100 PhD will graduate and there will be only 10 academic positions. So definitely a lot of people will not get job in academic positions. So focus on the. But publication is not a joke. I mean, by publication, you means that you have applied your solid skill. You have the writing capability. You have the presentation skill. So you are very giving the importance of communication, right? Just oral communication is not the one form of communication. Written communication is very strong communication. You need to prove that. Even industry people can, acknowledge your publication, right? So that's what I'm thinking. That I mean, whatever, even in your job, when you will go to your job, you will not always, you will do something that is the required for the job purpose, right? That is the requirement of the job. For PhD as a job, think as a job that it is your requirement to do that research work.
I learned a lot from other panelists here. Thank you so much. So I think it's also similar with Steve as well. It depends, right? But I'm gonna bring it from the different angle actually. So do you have to do PhD or not? I'm gonna take it from the 7 habits of highly effective people. Habit number 2, begin with end in mind. So basically, what career path that you actually want to choose in geospatial field is depend on what you want to do when you graduate. So you should start thinking, do you want to pursuing career in academics? Do you want to do teaching, research related to geospatial topic? Then maybe PhD degree is most likely the requirement that you need. Okay? But on the other hand, if you're looking to work on the industry, it is important to research for that job posting requirement and recommended qualification. Even when you're still studying, you just see like what is needed in that requirement and recommended qualification. Some position may explicitly stated the education degree requirements. So it's and that's probably the one that you want to take a look of that. But fulfilling overall requirement and recommended qualifications is more important. So I can tell like one example at ESRI. I just like preparing for this panel. I look for jobs posting at ESRI. So there is one from our Research and Development Center in Zurich. So ESRI is a company, but we have so many research and development around the world. And the job posting is for back-end software engineer. It is stated that the qualification for that is at least master degree or PhD degree in computer science. Okay. But on the top of that, it say or equivalent experience working in the web technology. So we acknowledge that if you have master or PhD on this, we will consider you. However, we also consider those that actually have the experience. So PhD degree may give you chance for this job, but also the experience on that. Now, at ESRI, we do acknowledge that a person with PhD can demonstrate that they carry out independent research, they have the ability to manage their own projects and things like that. And we expect those skills are transferable to the job that they are applying, okay? However, that's one requirement. We have many other fulfilling qualification requirements that need to be met on the top of that. Okay. And then at ESRI, we also have many PhDs, and then some of them is actually took PhD after they start working for ESRI. So they are like passionate in what they're doing, maybe like geospatial statistic, AI, and then they see there is a research project that they really want to pursue, and they do the PhD degree on that. Okay, even we have fellowship for them to do that. So my point in here is you can take PhD anytime, not now, even when you get the job. As Kazi say, you have to have passionate on that. Is that what you want to do? And then you probably have a certain skill that you really want to pursue and make you like, okay, I am involved in climate change a lot. It will help me to be more as an expert if I do PhD in certain climate change topic. So then I can easily collaborate with other agency and other institution, because at ESRI we collaborate a lot with the agency as well, and the subject matter expert. Okay. The last thing for me is, if you're interested in pursuing PhD in geospatial science, cartography, programming, and would like to work in the industry after that, that's your dream job that you want, you need to align your research topic with your dream job. Okay, so if you want to work with the climate change, you want to really contribute your expertise in climate change, do your PhD related to the climate change. So when you graduate and then go to the job market, then we see that, oh, you know geospatial, you know climate, then you're gonna go into that pipeline. Okay, so if you say like, I really like with AI, geo AI, generated AI, then do your PhD closer to that. So then when you graduate, then you are marketable in your dream job. Okay, so again, back into that, like start with thinking, what do you want in your career, and then align everything into that goal. Okay, so hopefully that helps.
So in terms of the exploring, yeah, I think the job is really great. The way also exploring internship or research assistant position at the national lab during the undergraduate or even the master, study can be valuable. insight into the research environment. You don't necessarily, I mean, if you look at the job posting in the lab, not always require, PhD. Sometimes it's more research assistant position. That way, you can learn. It's similar, right? Start working at the industry. So starting from there, and then I saw some cases, the student working in the lab as a researcher while simultaneously pursuing the PhD. This tour approach really allows for practical application of knowledge gained during the academy, but also can be a strategic way to advance the both professional and academic. Because if you don't know this kind of different kind of path, then always you think, okay, I have to finish my degree and then maybe then I can apply something. But it's sometimes very hard, especially when you go to the industry. Then should I really have a PhD or not? But some company actually ask PhD because they also looking for someone has experience in a PhD. I'm sorry, the AI and machine learning, which is need a lot of time. That's why if the student feels uncertain about their confidence or skills in the field, like geospatial data science and AI machine learning, and pursuing a graduate degree can provide also dedicated time and opportunity for active learning and skill development. Because if you start working, then you have a lot of duties. Because of that, you cannot really focus on something that really maybe you want to pursue. So think of as an investment in your future, right? So yeah, I think there's no answer, but I really emphasize that the decisions should really align close with your career goals. And for that, you have to experience, like, I highly encourage like internship and or assistant position, research assistant position in the lab.